Hello there. I'm not wearing any pants, and this is Chilling in the Nightmare. Today's topic is artificial intelligence, believe it or not, and authentic stupidity. Very real, natural stupidity. So the thing that I'm optimistic about is that by injecting more intelligence into the world, we can somehow decrease the levels of stupidity, which I would say they're at an all-time high, but I think it's part of the human condition that people are kind of dumb, myself not excluded. I'm as stupid as anybody, I'm sure, but I have dedicated my life to being not stupid, and it hasn't turned out that great. But I mean, I wrote like 18 novels, so I gotta have a little bit of brains, and I've somehow managed to make a living for myself, which also requires brains. But it's my opinion that stupidity is the greatest evil in the world, and I happen to know a thing or two about evil, as I was kind of a bad boy growing up, and also I was an artist, and also I was indulging in Mary Jane for years and decades. So the combination of being stupid and being high and being an artist, it at some point in time kind of led me down the path of evil. And also I was into metal, which, if you're into metal, evil and metal kind of go hand in hand. We pretend that it doesn't, but it obviously does. Which you can see from bands like Slayer and Slipknot and Marilyn Manson and all these different kinds of things. Like, for instance, one of my experiences with evil was that I was writing a book, as I do, and I was living in a van, and there was like a lightning storm, and something happened. I was listening to Slipknot's Iowa, which, if you get to like the end of Iowa, it gets like about as evil as music can really be. And something happened where I just like went into another place, and I met up with, the demons of the world, and they kind of came back with me. And when I came out of this place, I don't know if it was a vision. I mean, I was writing, so a lot of weird things happen to me. I don't know about other people, but when I'm writing novels, all kinds of weird things happen, especially when I used to be indulging in Mary Jane all the time. All kinds of things would happen. And one of them was I went into a place and came back with, and it wasn't just one demon. At first it was one demon, but then it turned out to be three. And I don't want to get all into that, but long story short, for a while I was channeling Satan, which is something I've heard other people can do. And I do believe it's more or less a real thing. But anyway, so I was very well acquainted with evil, and I spent a long time being acquainted with evil, and that part of my life is behind me, and I don't want anything to do with it anymore. But those voices, they're still in my head. If I want to talk to them, they're still there. They haven't gone anywhere. But we were intimately familiar. But anyways, my point is, out of all the evils in the world, I believe that stupidity is the greatest evil, because I believe it's willful ignorance for the most part. I believe that people are willfully ignorant, willfully stupid. We have all the ability in the world to become intelligent, and we choose to remain stupid, I guess because it's easier. It's the path of least resistance, and we don't have to do anything to be stupid. Stupidity comes natural. It's intelligence that is difficult for people. And so when they say that artificial intelligence is going to make us stupid, all I can think is, what are you talking about? We are already stupid. How can we possibly be any stupider. And what they say is that artificial intelligence is going to remove our ability to learn things, and that it is in the learning that we become intelligent. And if we remove the ability to learn, then we are going to become stupid. But I don't think we have the ability to learn, and I think we already are stupid. So I'm really looking forward to artificial intelligence injecting more intelligence into the world. And it's tough to be on the spot, because I was going to kind of go over like my whole life of when I'm at my job, how many stupid people I encounter all over the place. But it's there's so many things that I could think of that it's hard to know where to begin about. As soon as I leave the house and step out into the world, it's just one stupid thing after another. I am going to get into that, but I'm going to wait until after I say a couple more things about, like, they're removing our ability to learn. Okay, you can fucking... My first thought is that, for example, I've always been, kind of into cooking as much as anybody. I want to know how to cook good food, because it's a good skill to have. Why would you even need an explanation about that? But with the artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, I've been able to take my cooking to the next level, because there's never been anybody I could talk to. And I think that's what they're overlooking, is that you finally have someone to bounce ideas off of. Whereas when we used to just Google something, we wanted to know something, they would say, okay, Google it. You had to kind of figure it out for yourself. My phone is like, Google popped up on my phone. It thinks I'm talking about it. I'm not talking about you. Google, turn off Google, whatever. Anyways, we had no way to bounce ideas off of anybody. And now we can bounce ideas off of somebody. And my cooking has gone to the next level. So I have learned by having answers. So to say that it's going to make us stupid because we're not learning, it's giving you answers. You learn from the answers, not by trying to guess what the answers are or trying to discover more answers. Or even when I was writing my books, I used to spend a lot of time doing research, and it made everything tedious and time consuming, and I would try to avoid technical situations, technical topics, because I knew the research would be difficult. And now just being able to get answers to my questions, I've effectively got, my own research assistant to help me with the creative process. And so I can do much more technical writing than I could before, because it was just too time consuming. And so that's another way that I become more intelligent, because, if you have curiosity, I don't think the learning and the research is where you're getting your intelligence from. I think curiosity is where intelligence comes from. And by having the answers, that's what a teacher does. A teacher gives you the answers. They'll just they're going to give it to you, or they're going to make you figure it out for yourself. And they'll say, well, you're supposed to figure it out for yourself. Well, it's like, that's not the point. The point is you need the answer. And you have the curiosity and you have the answer to what you are curious about, then you've gained the wisdom of this. And there's a song called Banditos by The Refreshments. And he says, everybody knows that the world is full of stupid people. And so am I really going to sit here and try to tell the internet that the world is full of stupid people? Everybody knows that the world is full of stupid people. But let me tell you about some examples of stupid people from my life. For instance, I drive tractor trailers, and now they put a Big Brother camera in my face to watch me doing my job all the time. And if they don't like what I'm doing for some stupid reason, somebody who's never driven a tractor trailer, doesn't know anything about anything, you'd think maybe they would learn because that's their job. But these are, these people come and go and they don't learn anything. They just know what's in their little handbook. If person does this, you say this. If person does this, you say this. And so what they've effectively done is they've removed my ability to do my job in the most sensible way, because they have to justify their salary, they have to justify their existence, so they got to come up with things that we do that they don't like that we do, but they don't realize that every other truck driver in the universe is doing these things because they're practical and effective, and we have to do these things. And so now I have to do my job very silly to please somebody who doesn't know anything about anything. And that's an example of stupidity, because my job is safety critical, which requires intelligence. And even just the way that I drive around, they don't like specific things about driving. They think that by being anal retentive, they're going to somehow eliminate the danger of driving, but driving is inherently dangerous, and they're never going to change that. It's just what you're doing is, you're flying around on, 18 wheels or 4 wheels or 2 wheels or whatever. But I mean, there's momentum, and there's mass, and there's traction and speed, and there's human error, and there's the X factor of you cannot predict what's going to happen at any given moment. And all these things come together where the driver has to interpret these details and proceed accordingly. But now they've put some barrier between the driver and his instincts, whereas I have an instinct to do one thing, and they have a rule that says don't do what your instinct says, because we will spank you on the bottom. And so that's one example of a stupid situation. Now, all the other truck drivers, some of them are highly skilled, some of them are complete idiots, and everybody falls more or less in between being a complete idiot and being highly skilled. I am highly skilled, but sometimes I'm a complete idiot, so that's what being a human is all about. But I mean, you'll see truck drivers do stupid things all the time, which mostly what they do is they don't have any courtesy. And if you don't have courtesy, that's a stupid thing to do, because courtesy is good for everybody. And then they're not conscientious, and that's a stupid thing to do. Is being unconscientious of your surroundings is stupid, because conscientiousness is good for everybody. And but not just that. So you go to a place and you need to do your job. You're there, you got to pick up the trailer and leave. But no. There's a security guard. And the security guard, I don't know why. I guess because a lot of these truck drivers are really messed up in their brains, probably because they're going mental from stress and fatalism. And they have these security guards in place to control the truck drivers and to control the yard. The warehouse yard, for some reason, needs security guards, but they kind of double as clerks, right? And so you got these clerks and you got these security guards, and you can't tell which is which sometimes. But anyways, they come between you and your job. And how many times I gotta play tricks on these people because they're too dumb to just be cohesive and to help you out. And they don't know what they're doing, and they want to tell me this. It's their first day every day. I've done this a million times. They want to tell me what's going on with the papers. A lot of the times there is no papers. That's another stupid thing, is that I'll drive this tractor trailer hundreds and hundreds of miles, and then when I get there, this load will fail because the paperwork has failed, because somebody somewhere was not good at their job, presumably because they're stupid. And so they can send a tractor trailer hundreds of miles across the earth, but they cannot print out a document that allows me to take the trailer. And then I can run that load without the document. And then we can fix it on the back end. But even that's got to be a problem, because things got to be a certain way. But it's like, you want things to be a certain way, you have screwed up your way that you want things to be. And then, so this load is going to fail, and, you know, your company is going to lose money, my company is going to lose money, I'm going to look bad for your mistake. Just let me take the thing and run. No, 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 can't be like that. So, you know, that's, what have we gone over? We've gone over security guards are dumb, truck drivers are dumb. How about the authorities? The police are always on top of us. Truck drivers have nowhere to go. We're supposed to just disappear into thin air. We can technically park anywhere where the truck will fit there. We'll be fine. We don't even need anything. We just need a spot to put the tractor trailer. And supposedly, you know, society requires truck drivers to exist, and yet they want us to not exist. You know, they can't live with us and they can't live without us. So you've got these police where you just try to park, you find a spot where you can put the thing, and the police has a problem with it because every little piece of land has some authority figure attached to it. And that's creating difficulties. Why is that creating difficulties? Because the Department of Transportation, the federales, they're always crawling up our rectum and jumping down our throat about every little thing. And we've got a clock, and we have a clock that controls everything we do. And we have to put ourselves into situations that if we just had more time, we can get out of this situation. Or if the dispatchers who control our lives, we don't even have control over anything. If they would just do their job better, where things move very well, or if the federales would regulate the dispatchers or the warehouses, instead of regulating us who have no control over anything, if they would regulate them, this whole situation would improve. But no, they've got to give us problems everywhere we go, which is another stupid thing, to be giving us problems when, you know, we're doing an important thing and all these people are just doing nothing. And that's where AI comes back into it. AI can solve problems with warehouse clerks who never know how to do their job and just create a document. All they have to do is create a document. They can't do it. Artificial intelligence can create that document. Dispatchers, all they need to do is match up miles and hours and appointment times and dates. And I happen to have a really good dispatcher now, but I've had bad ones in the past. But anyways, artificial intelligence can sort all of this out without even thinking very difficult about it, because it's all simple. But I mean, they're trying to do it with so many individual units that they can't possibly keep track of everything. So that's a stupid thing that can be fixed by artificial intelligence. And these security guards, I mean, their job can be done by a gate. What is their job really but to open the gate and close the gate? Sometimes hand you a document, sometimes put a signature on a document. What are they doing really? Supposedly they're there because we're causing so much problems, or because maybe somebody's going to steal things. I'm not going to say anything about the police, and I'm not going to say anything about the Department of Transportation, because at least, you know, a little more thought goes into those kinds of situations. But security guards are a very thoughtless position, and they've been my opposition for as long as I've been truck driving. I've had more problems with security guards for no reason, because you give them a tiny little bit of authority and their inclination is to expand it to its maximum potential because they need to feel like they're doing something or whatever, but they're really just being stupid. So those are some examples from my life. If I was doing edits and I stopped and I thought about it, how many stupid people, how about if you just walk into a place and you're looking around and everybody has a glazed over expression on their face? God, that's probably me when I'm tired. I mean, we're all just exhausted and things. But not just that, but if you try to talk to people, a lot of the times you can't really talk to them because they're too dumb, which is sad. And I'm optimistic that hopefully artificial intelligence can make these dumb people more intelligent, which sucks. Maybe we're not supposed to talk about it. Maybe it's taboo, but a lot of people are stupid, and it sucks. But I'm not really mad at stupid people as much as stupid systems and stupid organizations and stupid rules and regulations, and just But that's bureaucracy, that's our whole way of life. Bureaucracy built Western civilization. It began with the British. So, if you're coming out of any civilization that began with the British, they had bureaucracy. But that's not even true either, because I'm sure lots of civilizations had different kinds of bureaucracy, because I read books where it's like 1,000 years ago and they had lawsuits like 1,000 years ago. I'm like in Spain, I was reading a book where they're in a Spanish territory like thousands of years ago, and this guy's making up a lawsuit. I'm like, how far back does this crap go? And it's stupid. But I'm just hoping that artificial intelligence will do something to fix our problem with stupidity. Because why do I say stupidity is the greatest evil? Think about what we do as people. I mean, the world itself is evil. All of our arrangements are built on evil, and like even the profit motive. All of our greatest technologies came from military innovations that were designed to conquer and dominate. And so, probably this technology I'm using right now originated somehow, with trying to conquer and dominate a lesser peoples. And that's stupid too, because I mean, look at where it's getting us. We're driving off the cliff, we're on a downward spiral. We're circling the drain. And it's stupid, because we could be so much more. We have all the potential in the world. And think about this. It takes just as much energy to make things bad as it does to make things good. They are actively building us down. And we really got to tear it up. It's from a song by Crystal Lake, Japanese band. So I shouldn't have said that, because it came from some other thing. But anyways, they're building us down. They are doing that constantly. They're building the pyramid to blot out the sun. They don't want us to see the light of, I guess it's, for lack of better interpretation, it's the light of Christ. The pyramid is there to blot out the light of Christ. And that's what we're doing, is we spend our whole lives grinding on these hamster wheels to build the pyramid to blot out the light of Christ. And it's stupid. What else can you say about it? Because if people just had some brains, the teeming masses, the teeming brain dead, drooling, swirly eyed, brainwashed, hypnotized masses, if they just had a little bit of brains, they would see that, we're being manipulated for nefarious purposes, and it's not in our best interest. And to just go along with it is stupid. And we need to do something about it. And hopefully just the people who say that artificial intelligence is going to make us stupider, I don't believe that. I just fundamentally disagree with it. I think that intelligence is good, and if it's artificial, I don't care, because it is still intelligence. We've tried stupidity. We've done everything we can with stupidity. I can't take any more stupidity. And I'm really happy that artificial intelligence is here, and I'm really optimistic. It's already improving my life in a lot of ways. And sure, it might end civilization, but stupidity was going to end civilization. And so, but I don't know. It kind of comes down to, this is something else I wanted to say in a different video, but the meek shall inherit the earth. I was watching them, they were talking about Africa, some, popular video. That African guy is making videos, and then everyone else is talking about his videos. And he's talking about how in Africa, they can't get developed countries because it's too tribal, and they can't make the tribes get along to come up with a developed country. And I'm like, maybe you don't want a developed country. Did you ever think of that? Nobody ever stopped to think that maybe development is bad, and that in itself is stupid. These people have done something nobody else has been able to do in their quote unquote, stupidity, in their backwards ways, and their low IQ races. They've done something none of us have been able to do, which is to exempt themselves from modern civilization, which in my opinion is a beautiful thing. And I'm really happy for those people, even though they're all suffering and it's terrible. That's a different story. It doesn't, that's just more stupidity. They are suffering. It is terrible. And they can't seem to help themselves. That sucks. But from the other perspective, maybe building more developed nations is not a good idea, because developed nations are sketchy. They're evil. They do evil. And but that's kind of the weird dichotomy between good and evil, is that sometimes evil is good, and sometimes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And so it goes, back and forth. But I don't know. I cannot take any more stupidity in my life, in this world. And I'm welcoming the artificial intelligence, because the key word there is intelligence, and we need all the intelligence we can get. And that's it. This was Chilling in the Nightmare. Deuces.